you doing?
I want you to explain to me what's going on with this sword. You're accusing me.
Because you're the one that always cleans up.
That's right, folks. Guilty as charged. I have 2 prior misdemeanors for doing too much laundry and 1 felony conviction for picking up shit. But enough about me. So you may have thought that we were done with land life when we fled Pittsburgh and sailed to Florida. Nope. We call our page Rubber to Rudder as homage to us trading in our love of cars and moving on to a boat. We've had many different vehicles such as go-peds, motorcycles, track cars, mobmobiles, supercars, minivan beaters, and yes, even our brief RV home here we used to take a 4-month road trip across the US. Oh, did you say you wanted to see our slideshow? Great! We started off with our new diesel Jeep, which immediately self-destructed on the highway. After a month, Jeep still had no fix, so we decided to cut our losses and buy a used Infiniti with 90,000 miles on to tow our new tiny home. After visiting water park capital of the world, we arrived at the Badlands. Here, you see John Michael flying his drone, even though I mentioned that I didn't think you were allowed to fly drones on federal land. JM was quickly shown supporting evidence via ranger citation. In Black Hills, we were victims of the slowest drive-by in history, drove through a mountain's arsehole in Custer, and made a quick stop at Devil's Tower in Wyoming.
Alright, so I reckon we are about halfway to the top. You ready?
Wait, we going to the top?
We saw the Tetons, where the French turned something majestic into a slur about Tig Biddies. From there, we rafted with this crazy fucker and a bunch of Germans. We got to show our son a crop duster named after the fart, a boiling rainbow in Yellowstone that will lead you and Charlie to the Candy Mountain, then on to Glacier to drive Going to Your Death Road, ending with creepy goats staring at you with their rectangular pupils. We made it to Seattle, where John Michael traded in our beloved Horton and travel trailer for a Class A lady killer, which we lovingly named Slasher. Before leaving Seattle, we were sure to have Dexter try his first hit of meth. They grow up so fast. In Oregon, a kind stranger on Craigslist let us park in his yard overnight so we could watch the rapture unfold. Eclipse. We drove this cold coastline to see the world's biggest tree stumps, then made the trek to my people in Burning Man. Who doesn't want to live in a boiling by day, freezing by night alkaline desert where everyone's dirtier than your mom? We then headed to San Francisco to annoy locals by parallel parking our RV in downtown. On to Yosemite to desecrate nature, a quick stop at Death Valley to enjoy the 106-degree weather, then to the Mojave Desert to beat the heat and relax. We met Penn, drove on roads that looked like this sign, and watched a group of Grand Canyon tourists from a republic of no manners almost push my son off a cliff to get a good selfie. Next up, Arches. We then dragged our son up a crumbling cliffside of imminent death to False Kiva, a hidden historic site. We felt slightly safer clinging to the cliffs in Moab, Utah with our seatbelts on, and getting our money's worth in rental car insurance. We wrapped up our Griswold family vacation at the world's biggest ball of twine, which brings us full circle to Slasher the RV, which we dropped off in Florida to sell. We had left the keys to space between with people doing commissioning work and had to wait quite a few hours to get them back, which is where our story continues.
Do you want to tell everyone what you're doing?
Yeah, we're in a Publix parking lot in Fort Lauderdale because we're living out of our car. We're still moving everything aboard. What I had to do today was drive somewhere to get the keys to our catamaran so we could go show up there later tonight. But all of our stuff's either on the catamaran or in the back of this truck. So I was thirsty and a little sick of having to do everything, not being able to have anything like I have at home. So I went and made sure I had my perfect cocktail, which for me is iced tea. Ice. My iced tea. I have my lemon too. So I'm gonna make a little cocktail right here before we drive back up to Palm Harbor where our yacht is. A little slice of home right in the parking lot of Publix. Oh, there was security. Oh.
How's it taste?
I hit the spot. Perfect. Now I'm ready for my hour drive back. So we picked up our yacht from Atlantic Cruising Yachts. They were not done with everything. But we had hired a captain to help us get it down to Florida. We had a 4-person crew, including ourselves, to take shifts to get it down. And so they have a list of things to still do Atlantic Cruising Yachts, as well as a list of things that we added that either don't work because they're broken or it don't work as we expected because of the way they installed it. We can go over that list in a bit. So to do that work, we need to get it down to Fort Lauderdale, where they're going to haul it out, do our graphics package, and put on feathering, propellers, and I guess all the other stuff while it's on the hard down there.
We start by organizing our list of items that will be completed by just catamarans in Fort Lauderdale for Atlantic Cruising Yachts, the list of items that don't work as they are supposed to, and our list of new items that we would like to add just since we've moved on to the boat. To keep it interesting, we'll all do shots every time I make a face at John Michael or rub my forehead about boat work. Get pouring, cause here's your first drink now. And drink again to get the spreadsheet party started. Okay, get your pencils and papers, people, because I'm going to blow through these lists. We hope to touch on all these items in more detail, starting this episode, but many more in the future. The list of pre-planned Florida work includes getting hauled out of the water to replace factory props with folding auto props. While we're on the hard, Burl at Wraps 1 will apply our full cover vinyl graphics on both hulls. The salon currently reaches temperatures close to the surface of Mars, so we're having the windows tinted to keep the inside cooler. We're adding the factory carpets in both hulls, which really makes it cozy and hides the fact that we never have time to vacuum. We sailed down with our custom-made salon table stored in the forepeak, and the 2 pneumatic table legs are waiting at just catamarans. They will also hook us up with a carpenter to build 2 ottomans we designed, in addition to building a starboard forepeak workbench for John Michael and an anchor locker divider to keep the 100 meters of stainless steel anchor chain from spilling everywhere. Another big change is swapping out the factory throttle and transmission cables for the Glendinning EVC controls. You know, so it's a smoother drive when you make the boaty thing go forward and backwards. We also have to find our Code Zero sail, which should be sitting at the ACY Florida office, and find our parasailer, which should be at Just Catamaran's office. As for the new items on our list, first is adding a second Victron inverter so that we can reduce house battery charging times. The engine data centers require some reprogramming as well to get more information onto the NMEA 2000 network so that we can get more data information to appear on our I-70 displays, such as water tank levels and fuel tank levels. We learned that the Bad Boy Extreme Wi-Fi amplifier does not support 5 GHz Wi-Fi networks, so we plan to upgrade to a GN-Link 7. While JM is adding more wires to our pile of kindling under the nav desk, he plans to drop in a PEPWave, which allows us to easily switch between Wi-Fi and cellular data depending on what is available. This will make it harder to lie about why we don't answer people's emails or upload regular videos. The TV's audio return channel is not working with the Fusion stereo. That means when we try to scare our son into his room by showing him the movie Aliens, the sound only comes through the television and not the Bose surround sound speakers. I know this sounds like a white person problem, but movies are probably JM's second favorite hobby, followed closely by jerking me around and scaring the shit out of me. The European 220-volt oven has its own inverter buried in our bedroom wall with a fan that runs for 1 minute every 3 minutes. No surprise, JM's already ripped it out of the wall, and now we need a fix for that. Another issue is the mainsail auto hook, which was not exactly everything we dreamed, so we had to do some research and plan to contact Doyle regarding their anomaly headboards. Among others is adding a drain to the flybridge to keep water from pouring into the cockpit. Big thanks to Starry Horizons for that fix. We also want to replace the blue brow lighting to better match the underwater lights, and we need a fix for the port forward cabin sink drain, which is too slow and overflows. A spectacular first responder pointed out that we need to drop our carbon monoxide detectors towards the floor as well. Our trampoline also needs to be replaced because attachment points were being worn through, but that's a long story for another time. The kitchen sink faucet is also too small, so we're deciding whether to swap it out or get a dog to lick all the plates clean. Also, someone not necessarily me, broke the VHF home station mount, so add that to the list. The Blackwater tank level sensors are a must-add, or else you'd be playing toilet flush roulette, which Sea Odyssey coined while living aboard in France. There are plenty of other little things we'll leave off for now, and probably some that we've forgotten at the time of this video. But for now, let's just do a soft start by discussing cutting more holes in our textiline cockpit shades and adding more flexi-teak decking to ensure an even burn on the bottom of everyone's feet. And for those who are still counting shots, let's get those lined up now.
Thinking
that maybe this is all a bad idea. Oh wait, is the water tank level broken or is it just slow? What's up with that?
No, remember that was a conversion error between metric and imperial.
Oh yeah, you were doing liters when you should.
Yeah, it's just the growing pangs of learning the metric system. I put in 60 liters instead of 60 gallons. Common mistake.
And then we ran out of water.
Right, but not during a shower, which was key. Use this, but I guess I should.
You're gonna use it a lot. If you're on the anchor, every day that sun's gonna set down and beat in here.
Okay. Good. I like the way it works. Otherwise, you can kind of get out. Like, it protects the sun, but you can still get out.
We're talking about this custom-made textiline shade. We're talking about having cut out around this grill so that it can sit straight when it's attached way over here. Also cutouts in the shade here because we plan on leaving these side shades up pretty permanently, and it'd be nice to be able to use the parasailer. You can't even get a sheet under there, you'd have to remove it. In the end, we decided to only cut the textiline shade over top of the grill. We figured that we would mostly be keeping the side textiline shades rolled up to allow airflow into the cockpit, so we wouldn't need to cut out the bottoms for the Code Zero and parasailer sheets, aka ropes for all the lame landlubbers watching.
Here are the areas that we're gonna finish with Flexi-Teak. This area here in front of the helm station where you run the sheets. This area at the feet of the helm station here. Gonna finish this area up here, and we're gonna do these 2 footwells here. So this is the Flexi-Teak product. It's actually the same exact product that's installed on the boat from the factory. It feels like wood, but it bends like rubber. It's pretty amazing. And they just glue this down, and then they caulk the seam here underneath, which I'll show you when it's done, which is just to give it a nice finished look. Check out how good that looks. Yeah. It's not even down yet. It's just
oh, you want it glued down?
Because I didn't realize when I saw them over there, I didn't know what piece they would be. Because I thought this might be a square, but then I was like, it's like a V-shaped, yeah, and it would have put like a crease in there. Yeah, it looks really good.
It comes in strips like this, and then they either 4-inch or the 8-inch, and they actually hand weld this.
Okay. Because I saw that that seam goes all the way through. It's not just like a decorative. It is in a couple places, but the other ones, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it goes all the way through. It's we've never had it. We've been working with them since 2008.
Okay.
We've never had a deck go bad or go through.
Wow.
The Flexi-Teak install was brought to the boat at the dock mostly pre-cut. All of it was glued down in one day, and the guys returned the next day to caulk around the edges. They did an excellent job with no difference between the new install and the cockpit flooring installed at the factory. I will say that it does get pretty hot on the feet for a few hours during the middle of the day with direct overhead sun, but not where the cockpit roof covers everything, and we think that it's totally worth it. Not a bad start for our first few days in Florida. This is where I should ask you to subscribe and watch our next video, but we both know that neither of us have our whole heart in this relationship, so just holla back in a bit because we're getting this sea cow ready to haul out.